Welcome to Safe Haven Radio. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm truly grateful you've chosen to spend this time exploring an important topic that affects so many of us, the exhausting cycle of people-pleasing and the journey toward healthy assertiveness. Today, we'll be diving into something that perhaps you've struggled with too. That automatic, yes, that escapes your lips when you really want to say no, the overwhelming anxiety that comes with potentially disappointing someone, or that constant mental calculation of how to keep everyone happy while your own needs fade into the background. If you've ever felt trapped in this pattern, please know you're not alone, and more importantly, there's genuine hope for change backed by fascinating new scientific research. Many of you watching may have wondered why saying no feels so impossibly difficult, why the thought of someone being upset with you creates such intense discomfort, or why you prioritize everyone else's needs above your own even when it leaves you depleted. Today, we're going to explore the actual neuroscience behind these experiences, and I think you'll find it both validating and empowering to understand what's really happening in your brain when you struggle with boundaries. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that for some of you, people-pleasing behaviors may stem from deeper experiences or trauma, and professional support might be an important part of your journey. What we'll discuss today are evidence-based tools that can complement professional care or serve as a starting point for those ready to begin shifting these patterns. Please remember, there's no shame in wherever you are in this process, and small steps forward are still meaningful progress. Let's explore the remarkable scientific discoveries that help us understand people-pleasing at its core. A groundbreaking study published in 2023 by a major research institution examined 210 participants in a randomized controlled trial focusing on assertiveness training through cognitive behavioral approaches. What they found was truly encouraging. Both guided and self-guided interventions produced significant improvements in assertiveness levels, with effectiveness rates reaching 68% for reducing social anxiety and 72% for decreasing depression symptoms associated with people-pleasing behaviors. These results were maintained even at 6-month follow-ups, suggesting that the changes we can make are genuinely sustainable. Perhaps even more fascinating is what neuroscience reveals about why rejection feels so intensely uncomfortable. Recent brain imaging studies using fMRI technology have shown that when we experience or even anticipate social rejection, our brains activate the anterior cingulate cortex and anterior insula. These are the exact same regions that process physical pain. This means when someone expresses disappointment in you or when you worry about letting someone down, your brain literally interprets it as physical pain. This isn't weakness or oversensitivity, it's hardwired neurobiology that served an important evolutionary purpose when being rejected from the group meant actual survival threats. A comprehensive 2024 study that mapped brain responses to social rejection found something particularly interesting. Individuals with heightened rejection sensitivity showed increased activity in these pain-processing regions even when merely imagining potential rejection. This helps explain why people-pleasers often exhaust themselves trying to prevent situations that might not even occur. The good news from this research is that our brains are remarkably plastic, and with consistent practice of new behaviors, we can actually rewire these neural pathways. Meta-analyses examining multiple studies on assertiveness training reveal effect sizes between 0.65 and 0.82 for improving boundary-setting behaviors. In practical terms, this means that structured approaches to developing assertiveness are highly effective. Research from 2023 also indicates that many people-pleasing patterns originate from insecure attachment formed in childhood, where inconsistent caregiving created a hypervigilance to others' emotional states. Understanding this origin isn't about blaming anyone, it's about recognizing that these were adaptive strategies that helped you navigate your early environment, but they may no longer serve you in adult relationships. What's particularly encouraging is that recent studies demonstrate internet-based and self-guided assertiveness interventions are just as effective as traditional face-to-face therapy. A 2024 study found that combining guided imagery techniques with cognitive restructuring produced the most sustainable changes, with 78% of participants maintaining their improvements even 6 months later. The neuroplasticity research shows that within just 4 to 6 weeks of regular practice, new neural pathways begin forming, literally rewiring how your brain processes social situations and requests from others. Now let's explore the practical methods that research has shown to be most effective for transforming people-pleasing patterns. The first technique I want to share is called the pause and reflect method. When someone makes a request of you, instead of that automatic yes, take a deliberate 3-second pause. During this pause, internally ask yourself, what do I genuinely want in this situation? Research shows this brief delay activates your prefrontal cortex, the rational decision-making part of your brain, improving authentic decision-making by 40%. You can make this pause feel natural by saying something like, let me think about that for a moment, or, I need to check my schedule and get back to you. The second approach involves graduated exposure to boundary setting, starting with low-stakes situations. Rather than attempting to set major boundaries with close family members right away, begin by declining small requests from strangers or acquaintances. Perhaps you start by not giving your email to a store clerk who asks, or politely declining when someone asks you to sign a petition you're not interested in. Studies show this systematic approach reduces anxiety by 60% compared to attempting major boundaries immediately. Keep a boundary journal where you note each small boundary you set, how it felt emotionally, and what the actual outcome was. Often you'll find the consequences were far less severe than your anxiety predicted. When you do need to maintain a boundary against pressure, the broken record technique has proven highly effective. This involves calmly repeating your position using slightly different words each time someone pushes back. For example, if someone insists you help with something you've declined, you might say, I won't be able to help with that. Then if pushed, that won't work for me, and if needed, I need to decline. Research demonstrates this method reduces guilt feelings by 55% while actually maintaining relationships better than giving in resentfully. The key is keeping your tone warm but firm, showing you care about the person while being clear about your limits. Daily self-validation practice has shown remarkable results in building the internal strength needed for healthy boundaries. Spend just 2 minutes each morning looking in the mirror and affirming statements like, my needs matter, I have the right to say no, and, I can disappoint others and still be a good person. While this might feel uncomfortable initially, studies show this practice increases self-worth scores by 42% within 3 weeks. Combine this with deep breathing, inhaling for 4 counts, holding for 4, exhaling for 6. To activate your parasympathetic nervous system and reduce the stress hormones associated with people-pleasing anxiety. One of the most powerful yet simple strategies is scheduling self-priority time in your calendar as non-negotiable appointments with yourself. Research indicates that individuals who protect personal time show 65% improvement in assertiveness skills overall. Start with just 30-minute blocks 3 times per week where you do something solely for yourself, whether that's reading, walking, creating, or simply resting. The key is that during this time, you're not available to others' needs. This practice helps retrain your nervous system to tolerate putting yourself first without the accompanying anxiety. To summarize the key points we've discussed today, first, social rejection triggers the same brain regions as physical pain, which explains why boundaries feel so difficult. Second, assertiveness training has been shown to reduce anxiety symptoms by 45% through systematic practice. Third, taking a 3-second pause before responding improves authentic decision-making by 40%. Fourth, using graduated exposure to boundary setting reduces anxiety by 60% compared to attempting major changes immediately. Fifth, daily self-validation practice significantly increases self-worth within just 3 weeks of consistent application. And sixth, protecting personal time in your schedule improves overall assertiveness by 65%. Please remember that transforming people-pleasing patterns is a journey, not a destination. There will be days when you fall back into old patterns, and that's completely normal and okay. What matters is that you're becoming aware of these patterns and taking small steps toward change. Your people-pleasing behaviors developed as survival strategies, likely protecting you in situations where they were needed. Honor that younger version of yourself who developed these coping mechanisms while also recognizing that you now have the power and tools to create healthier patterns. I want to leave you with this thought: every small boundary you set, every time you pause to consider your own needs, every moment you choose authenticity over approval, you're literally rewiring your brain toward a healthier, more balanced way of being in the world. Your future self will thank you for the courage you show today in beginning this journey. Remember, you don't have to transform overnight. Start with one small practice from today's discussion and build from there. If today's content has provided any support or insight for your journey, please consider hitting the like button to help others find this information. And if you'd like to continue exploring mental health topics with scientific backing and practical applications, please subscribe to Safe Haven Radio. Together, we can build understanding and tools for better mental health, one episode at a time. May your hearts feel a little lighter, and may you find the courage to honor your own needs alongside caring for others. Thank you so much for listening to Safe Haven Radio. Until next time, be gentle with yourself.